Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Man Cave Mondays. This is Dan here with you. And if I can get the graphic off the screen. Hey, there we go. Hey, good evening, everyone. As you might notice, behind me is a slightly different background than what we normally got going on for me. My man cave has been relocated to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And so if there are any hiccups or snafus with tonight's production, I'm kind of running things a little more on the fly remotely. So I apologize about that ahead of time. And ironically, Joe is actually doing the same thing. He's on vacation. And lucky for me, I was lucky enough to have a place that had 5G Wi-Fi connection and decent internet. Joe, on the other hand, was reduced to 0 cell signal on the beach. And I actually envy him a ton. So he is not going to be with us this evening for this conversation, and I know he's extremely bummed about that. We tried to get it to work, but it just wasn't working. So I'm going to be stepping up to the plate and defending Xbox as best I can in his absence. But with that said, let's bring our panel in here for the evening. There's, of course, our resident PlayStation fanboy, Christian, the Hitman. How you doing, Christian?
Hello. I'm doing good.
Cool. Lots of interesting conversations to get into tonight about all the news from Xbox, but we'll get to that. We also got Bobby, of course. How you doing, Bobby?
Moving forward.
Moving forward. That's what we like to hear. And Alberto. Evening, sir.
Good evening.
How are you? How was your guys' week?
Good.
I'm in the Upper Peninsula. We drove through Wisconsin, so I had to pick me up some spotted cow. I hope that doesn't bother any of you guys.
I have my Aldi brand Ryder 8 beer.
Oh, lucky you. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so jealous.
I've got some orange shandy.
Orange shandy, and Alberto's rocking the agua. Stuff. There we go.
You know what? That was me the last 2 weeks, so
it's okay. That is okay.
Nothing wrong.
Let's get started real quick with the news for the week, and then we will dive into our conversation. Normally, we do PlayStation and Xbox news, and we'll do that a little bit tonight. But that's kind of what our conversation is about tonight. So I figure that might kind of merge a little bit into one another. But Alberto, you want to go first?
Sure.
All righty, sir. You are up.
Right. So this week it was the Comic-Con at Home event. So Comic-Con was partnering up with tons of content creators and cast and crew to start revealing information, gallery images, trailers, sneak peeks, first looks into a lot of upcoming movies. So certain ones that kind of stood out to me was the Walking Dead movie. The one that's going to be the solo film starring Rick Grimes, so Andrew Lincoln, and it was confirmed that the original comic creator Kirkman, he's going to be involved with it. Now, exactly how involved he's going to be with the original or with the actual project is still yet to see. There's not an insane amount of details in it, but it's nice to see that someone who loves and cares so much for his own character is going to be there making sure that this narrative ending to Rick Grimes' story is going to have a proper farewell.
Have you guys still been keeping up with The Walking Dead at all, or no?
Nope.
Not in a few years, no. I
haven't
loved
in years either. So,
spoiler alert for anybody who didn't get that far. I think I dropped off two seasons ago.
What are you talking about?
2 seasons ago. So we're on season 10. So I think I dropped off the end of season 8.
Okay. I don't know how far it is, but whenever Negan took out you know who, I was like,
so I was like one season past that. It's.
I just lost interest after that.
They were killed. They killed off one too many characters that they shouldn't have. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Cool. Second bit of news. Dan already shared it with us earlier, but a little bit of Snyder news. It wouldn't be a Comic-Con event without a little bit of Snyder news.
Right.
And that small little snippet of Superman owning up the black suit. Everyone loved it. Fans loved it. And comic book legend Dan as well, Dan Jurgens. Him himself, he's even given praise to it. Dan was
I know Dan Jurgens is a big deal. That's a big deal.
mean, writer of Death of Superman,
Right.
and worked on tons of different things. I mean, helped create Doomsday, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no small feat. So to be able to
No.
get the round of applause.
He's a
for
really
him-
nice guy too. I had a chance to meet him at C2E2 a few years back. He's at least that day he was really nice. You never know.
Didn't they say that he originally Henry Cavill filmed that scene in the blue tights, but they digitally had to match for the tones of the black and silver?
Yeah, that's why the Justice League, he's got the more silver outlines because they were gonna go digitally in and turn it black, and so the silver was
pop. That's the really interesting thing about this particular version of the Justice League. Zack Snyder kept fighting for the black suit, and they kept saying no, no, no. But in saying okay, fine, we'll do the regular suit, he secretly, stealthily did it in such a way that they could easily go in and alter the suit to black without making it look awful in post-production when he finally got the thumbs up on it, which he was explaining that during when they showed this scene, and they're like, oh, it's a black suit. And he was like, yeah, funny story. I wanted to do that the whole time. So I secretly even did the colored suit in such a way that I could make it the black suit when I got permission eventually. So
it was the ace of
that's
the
awesome.
So. Mad genius.
Mad genius. Big time.
At least he's not wearing a beard.
No beard. No long. See, well, here's the thing. I kind of think it'd be all right if he was wearing a beard and had the long hair like he did in the comics. But
I mean, but who knows? That might be a scene before this. This might be.
Maybe
he could start with that and then clean him up and keep the suit. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I was referring to the whole when Henry Cavill reshot from Mission Impossible and they had to redo the mouth. So
you guys heard the issue with that, right? They actually offered to CGI the mustache in for Mission Impossible. They offered to pay for it. And they were like, no, you guys have to CGI it out of your film.
I personally think it's because they were sticking it to Joss Whedon.
I'm sure.
Because apparently the guy's a total D-bag. But that's a conversation maybe for another time.
Another episode.
Alrighty. Any more news there, Alberto?
Last bit of news is going to be good news for Thor fans. They're going to be starting production for the Love and Thunder. So it's going to be the standalone one with Natalie Portman. Don't know how you guys, or how excited or not excited you guys might be for it, but it has been delayed regardless of it. Originally supposed to be coming out next fall. It's been pushed all the way up until spring of 2022 due to the whole world situation. So gotta wait and see.
I love the comic. Did you guys read the female Thor story arc at all? Or not?
I read some of it.
It was really good.
I'm just excited that it's with Taika Waititi again.
Yeah.
He had such a fun time on Thor Ragnarok. And
yes, I don't know that his approach to filmmaking fits this type of story arc, at least the way the comics were done. That doesn't mean it's going to be bad.
Right.
I'm intrigued. I'll put it that way. So.
But here's the thing. He's done really well he's won my approval with Thor Ragnarok and what he's done on The Mandalorian. So I'm excited to see what Love and Thunder is going to be like.
Cool.
Would you guys have preferred them not announce Natalie Portman was coming back, but announce they were doing this story and leave it kind of to speculation whether they were going to bring her back or not?
So here's the thing. The whole story arc for female Thor was all a guessing game of who is female Thor. The whole thing. And you don't know until the last issue who female Thor actually is. And it's a really a pretty emotional and powerful reveal at the end. And I would have loved for them to hold on to that card.
Yeah. I understand why they did it though.
Yeah.
You want to build that immediate hype for it.
Yeah, but you're ruining it. You can see the thing. You can say she's coming back as Doctor
as Jane.
But if they had announced she's coming back and then announced the movie, people would have immediately known. So they had to do it one way or the other.
But here's the deal. Not everybody would have known. Just like Lord of the Rings, you can be like, and Gandalf dies, and everybody who doesn't read the books, they don't know that he comes back. You know what I mean? Like
spoiler, Dan.
the people who aren't
Spoiler.
super, if you haven't watched or read Lord of the Rings yet, you're watching the wrong show.
They could have pulled what they done in Captain Marvel, which Dan absolutely hated.
I was not a fan of that. No, not at all.
Well,
But
I mean, look, they could
I
change
loved how,
things. So,
like, they could have made the movie be the same kind of question, what if, who is it kind of thing. And everybody who's read the comics would probably know, okay, it's going to be Jane Foster. We get that if we've read the comics, but you never know. They could change it.
Yeah, or they could have recasted her. They could have had it been a different actress. That would have been like a.
Anyway, I'm curious. I'm intrigued. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Cool. Alrighty. What else? What else we got? We got moving on to comic related stuff, right? Bobby, what do we got for comic book news today?
gonna keep it simple. So come to the first one. We're gonna talk about, what was my first link? I said we're going to talk about the tease that Tom Taylor, author of Injustice, is working on the sequel to the Injustice comic. So, which on Twitter today, he had the big eye on his Twitter feed, quoting Batman from the book. I think it could have been different. Just to kind of set it up, Injustice is set in an alternate universe where Batman's group of underground warriors have defeated Superman's totalitarian regime. It is based on the Injustice Gods Among Us video game, which was released in 2013.
Interesting. Christian, Alberto, what do you guys think of the story arc of Injustice being a bigger deal?
I personally loved the story in the game. I read through the entire first wave of those comics.
Yeah.
The entire year one arc.
It's exploded. It's one of the most successful Justice League comic lines. Really,
I lost track of it. I really want to get back into it. I personally think it's fantastic. Just the whole debate around going too far with
Superman's essentially a bad guy. He's a bad guy in most of the Injustice stuff. You know, a lot.
Which, I mean, you think about it, it's a
sympathetic bad guy, but
exactly. It's somebody who has all this power in the world and couldn't do anything with it to save the person he cared the most about.
He actually got duped into killing the person.
The most.
Exactly. So it's
I mean, hey, I would punch the heart out of the Joker too if he made me do that.
Spoiler alert. No. I'm kidding. Cool.
I would love to see that adapted into a either animated movie or live action movie.
Okay. Alberto?
I'm excited. I mean, I'm kind of a little bit in the same boat as Christian. I never beat either one of the two Injustice games, so you might kill me for that. But without a doubt, though, I enjoyed both of them, and I didn't finish them because I don't like them. Being a fan of video games means that you have 175 games on your backlog. So you're thinking, I'll jump back to it.
We'll get to that in a little bit. Thanks for the digital games world and sales.
I never played Injustice.
Yeah, either one.
I love how it got
deathly
silent there for 5 seconds when he.
Yeah, I know. Our hearts.
You never played Injustice.
Alberto, you're going to have a lot of hearts, bro. You're going to see me very silent in the main conversation today.
I'm going to be asking you your input on the outsider's perspective here quite a bit tonight, Bobby. I'm looking forward to it, actually. So cool. So that's Injustice news. Right. What else we got in the comic book world?
So the next big thing, because COVID-19, this giant pandemic has delayed everything. Last June, Marvel finally went back with their new crossover event called Empire, where the Skull and the Kree Empire have now joined forces and are led by Hulkling. And their new emperor and the new agent of the Accuser has been taken over by our favorite superhero, Carol Danvers, in the latest issue of Captain Marvel. And they're promising a big twist just like her movie.
Yeah, I don't know that intrigues me very much. I did not like the big twist in the movie, but
I enjoyed it.
I know you and I disagree on that movie. substantially.
What big twist are we talking about again?
The twist where
The
the
scroll twist.
Oh,
well,
Or
that,
like the post
she's
credit
really
one.
still got
and the
all her
Krees were the
power,
bad
and
guys.
the Kree were the bad
Oh,
guys,
okay.
and then
So-
okay, all right. Alberto, what do you think? Does that intrigue you or not really?
It does intrigue me. I've never really gotten too crazy about Captain Marvel. Not only just as a character, but like from like even just from film.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't know how to handle the characters so far, at least in the movies. I can't speak in the comic world because anytime she did show up in the comics were normally in crossover events that I would read. And when she did pop up, she acted very much how she did in Endgame. So I can't say I was disappointed, but
Mhm.
I hope that, maybe whatever next film that she ends up being in, it will just start to give me like a little bit of a interest to dive a little bit more back into her storyline.
Yeah.
Which is one thing that really intrigues me a lot about the Marvel Avengers game, because I know it's not Captain Marvel, but it's Ms. Marvel and whatnot.
Mhm.
But with one of the newest storylines, she idolizes a lot Captain Marvel herself. That's like her absolute idol in
Yeah.
the storyline. So I'm excited to see if in Marvel's Avengers you start seeing a little bit more of like character development out of Captain Marvel, and why do people admire her so much, and why did they start admiring her in the first place?
That's a great question. You know me though, I'm a DC guy first, so maybe it's just that, but I'd take Wonder Woman over Captain Marvel any day. But
Oh, yes.
anyway, I just feel like the iconic, hopeful persona that they're doing in the DC films, at least with Wonder Woman, is awesome. I love that. But maybe they'll get to that with Captain Marvel. I hope they do. But
I
anyway,
personally feel they missed how they didn't give the character justice. But and then again,
Yeah.
she's supposed to be this hardcore, take action type of person, and no one's supposed to like her because
that's okay. I mean,
and that's her character. But
Yeah.
that could be a topic
not
for
like
another
that.
time.
Yeah, I don't not like that, but I don't know. There's just something about, maybe I just got the hots for Wonder Woman. I don't know. Who knows? And last bit of comic news, or was that it, Bobby?
No, that was it. I was trying to keep
That was
simple
it, right?
today. Yep.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right, Christian.
You want me to go, or do you
You
want
are
to go
up.
and then we'll jump into
Well, you
gaming?
can go, and then we'll jump into the
All
Xbox. I'll tease some of the Xbox stuff, but a lot of that will probably be tied into the conversation for tonight.
All right. So I'm also keeping it pretty simple tonight with the news as far as it goes. I'm saving the majority of my topics for the main discussion. Nintendo released a mini direct yesterday or 2 days ago, I believe. Just talking about a couple games. They were calling it their creator showcase. So they're releasing new DLC for the Cadence of Hyrule, which is a music Legends of Zelda game. Apparently, I didn't know it existed. It looks like basically Guitar Hero Legend of Zelda hybrid. I don't know. 3 new DLC packs coming to that though, so people are fans of that. Rogue Company, which is a game that just released in beta on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, also is going to be coming to the Switch. WWE 2K Battlegrounds released its newest trailer, and as well as a remaster of Shin Megami Tensei 3, and then an announcement of Shin Megami Tensei 5. So Nintendo has been kind of flying under the radar lately.
Yeah.
They haven't been doing a lot.
Yeah, not a whole lot going on with Nintendo. I mean, other than if I can find, did I find that graphic? Where is that graphic? Here's that graphic. There.
Yeah.
There it is.
So yeah, they've been flying under the radar. And I don't know whether that's intentional, if they've got something bigger up their sleeves, or if they're just kind of content to let Sony and Microsoft duke it out. But
I mean, I'm sure they are.
Yeah. Second little bit of news. This actually goes with my news from last week. All signs are pointing to a release date announcement very, very soon for PS5. there was a unnamed retail store in the UK that somebody took a picture of a kiosk that was set up in the white and blue theme. Yeah. And I mean, that screams PlayStation 5.
Well, yeah.
Sony released a statement.
Screams PlayStation, period, because PlayStation
right,
everywhere, but
exactly.
Yeah.
And so Sony released a statement saying that is not PlayStation 5 related, but they are not ready to announce what it is related to. But nothing else Sony has ever been this white branding except for the PlayStation 5.
What else would it be?
Exactly. So I'm
expecting you're saying you're just straight up saying they're lying about it being not being PS5 related.
Oh, 100%. Because they don't want that to get leaked. They're trying to hold on to that.
Here. Pay no attention to the system behind the curtain.
Yeah, pay no attention to the giant kiosk in the middle of the UK Best Buy.
Yeah, right. Basically,
Alberto. Imagine
that totally looks
imagine
PS5
if they
related,
did release they just drop a PS Vita 2,
Mm-hmm.
just out of nowhere. Oh, and by the way, here you go.
Alrighty,
wild. But yeah, that's all I got for right now.
Okay, interesting stuff. Let me get this off the screen here. As far as like TV and streaming related stuff, this was a weird week for TV and streaming. Starting right off the bat, Mike Tyson is going back into the ring.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what?
Are they selling tickets to that, like for pay-per-view?
I don't know.
Because I guarantee you, if that's on pay-per-view, people are going to buy it.
It's definitely going to be on pay-per-view, and people are wondering if he's going to take a chunk out of somebody. You got to be wondering if he's still got that fight left in him.
Did you see the clip from a couple months ago when he was training?
I did not see that. No.
That guy was throwing punches faster than I can blink. Like,
right, dude. Still,
I would not want to run into Mike Tyson in
the late 50s, though. So it's like,
I wouldn't want to fight. I wouldn't want to fight Mike Tyson with both of his arms behind his back.
I wouldn't want to fight him ever at any age, for sure.
You couldn't pay me enough money to fight Mike Tyson.
Yeah, me either. So that's kind of weird. And then, in addition to that, people who are fans of The Office, apparently there is a spin-off series that is getting a pilot that is all centered around the character of Stanley. Are you guys Office fans at all or no?
Wait. What? I did not know this. Stanley?
And here's the deal. It started as a Kickstarter campaign.
What?
Yeah.
This is all news to me. Here I am.
Here, check this out. Okay. As of like 2 weeks ago, 12 days, right? 12 days ago, they have raised over $300,000. They needed to get $300,000 to reach their goal of being able to film the pilot. Why they're doing this as a Kickstarter campaign, I have no idea. They raised $300,000 from just shy of 900 people backing it. That's it, 900 people, right? Let me see if, hopefully, fingers crossed, the audio will work this time. Here's the pitch. It's 1 minute long. I want to get your guys' reaction to this.
No sound.
You guys got any audio or no?
No.
Mm-mm.
No. Let me see if I can do it separately here. Hold on.
I see his mouth moving, and then this is
his mouth moving. That's it. Okay, let me hang on. I really want to have you guys see this. All right, share audio.
And in my imagination, he's just saying, "Are you out of your mind?
Are you out of your mind?" There we go. Okay, please work. Can you hear it?
Self.
Yeah.
Some kind of mess, huh? Interrupted my retirement from sitting around woodworking and dancing old disco. I was getting bored out of my mind anyway. Who am I kidding? But nephew needs my help with his business. A motorcycle florist shop. What a weird combination.
What?
At least it makes sense as to why he had that casket spray of flowers on the sidecar of that motorcycle when he picked me up at the airport.
What?
A widower with two kids are dreaming broke as hell. He's going to need all the Uncle Stan guidance and wisdom I've got to give in order to get this train wreck again.
I mean,
This was such a last-minute move.
yeah, it was.
My lady friend's going to take it. We were supposed to get engaged.
Alrighty. So that's the pitch. That's
Uncle
the pitch.
Stan.
Uncle Stan helping his nephew with some motorcycle flower business. Like,
So it's reverse Fresh Prince.
I don't know, right? Like, what is the? I mean, what do you think, Bobby? Are you an Office fan? Have you watched?
Is it going to be documentary style?
That's a good question.
So is it going to
like
be
the mockumentary style, like The Office?
Yeah.
was?
Yeah, is it going to be like the Family Guy spinoff? Is it going to be like the Cleveland show, or I'd like to see what the pilot looks like to see what it.
Based on that
Potentially.
pitch, it could almost look like it's a vlog style. Like
That
he's
would be kind of
recording
cool
it all.
too.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm gonna admit, I'm not the biggest Office fan. I've watched
I
bits and
love The
pieces
Office.
here and there.
Loved it.
I've always meant to fully get into it, but I've just never kind of been able to sit down and just get through it. I don't know if that's due to the fact that I've seen every meme from The Office online for the last decade.
The memes have kind of ruined a lot of the jokes and punchlines
Yeah.
of the show for sure.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
And people don't even know the context of that. They don't even know the context of that. So, yeah, I mean, based on that pitch there, I'm actually, to be honest with you, a little surprised that they got that many people to.
It's
give
The
them
Office.
money.
People who love The Office would pay for anything.
I know, but that pitch was like, I don't know, dude. That wasn't impressing me enough to give them my money. That's just
Sounds like a wacky sitcom.
Yeah.
right. I mean, The Office was wacky too. Don't get me wrong, but
I had a slow
maybe
start.
it's because it was just Stanley there giving a monologue. Like, I want to see what the characters are like. I want to know what the.
I find it hard to
chemistry
believe
stuff.
NBC will pick that up,
Yeah.
especially in
find it
today's day and age.
Peacock.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
There you
Both
go.
of us- you're right.
Yeah. They don't even have to. Yeah, just throw it on
The idea of
Peacock.
pitching TV shows is totally different now with the landscape of streaming.
It is.
Yep. So, last bit of news here in TV, and then we'll jump into the gaming discussion for the night. If I can find the screen here, there it is. No, that's not it. There we go. Those of you who are Daredevil fans, and we're sad that Netflix pulled the rug out from under us, including the one and only Charlie Cox, who apparently was surprised when Netflix pulled the plug. There is possibilities that his character may be shown up in the MCU officially outside of Netflix to some degree at some point. The rumor has it that he, as well as the Punisher, are going to be coming back on the big screen. He may just have a cameo to some degree or a smaller role in a potentially R-rated Punisher movie.
Wow.
That would be in the MCU. That's the rumor anyway coming out.
Wasn't there a rumor last year that they were going to have him and the Netflix Kingpin pop up in Spider-Man 3?
Yeah, there's all that's the thing. Like, there's all kinds of rumors flying around about what exactly do we do with these characters? Are they officially in the MCU? Are they not? And then they came out that they're going to still, Jessica Jones is going to be making an appearance to some degree at some point, they said. But all of this stuff is just basically, I think, teases from Disney or Marvel movies and stuff saying, Marvel Studios going, hey, we still remember that we have these characters.
Right.
Well, we're not going to tell you what we're going to do with them yet, but we're not done with them. And that's really all they're saying, So
I heard a rumor or theory, so to speak, that he's going to play Peter Parker's lawyer in Spider-Man 3.
Oh. That would
Because
fit in
Spider-Man,
great.
because
I can see that.
I can see that.
coming up.
He can't see it, but we can.
I mean, but
Oh no!
give it up to Christian for the blind joke.
I'll see myself out.
Very clever, very nice. He quote didn't see it coming when they didn't renew the show. Yeah. Anyway, I'm here all night, guys. No. So that's that news, and then moving on to additional gaming news. Xbox had their big spiel this past week. Did you guys all get a chance to watch it, or no? Bobby did not. Did you get to catch any of it? No. All righty. How are we going to get him up to speed, guys? We got to get him up to speed on all of the.
I got it. I got it.
Oh,
30 second Xbox Series X.
It was an hour and a half, and you're going to reduce
45
it
seconds.
30 seconds.
45 seconds.
An extra 15 seconds. Lucky us. I can't wait to hear this. Okay.
All right.
Says the man.
Wait. I'm going to time you.
All right. Ready?
No, wait. I'll time you. 45 seconds. I'll give you the start. Ready?
Okay.
Go.
All right. They start off with Halo Infinite. Show off some gameplay. Looks exactly like the original Halo, including the graphics, because apparently they showcased it on an Xbox One, not on an Xbox Series X. So, open world, which looks cool. They show the gameplay. That's the only gameplay for any game we get the entire hour event. Then they spend the next 30 minutes talking about a bunch of random indie games and a bunch of random games that are going to be coming to the Xbox Game Pass. Some decent ones, some interesting ones, nothing really major. They talk about how great the Game Pass is. Then they end it with a tease of Fable, and it's the only thing that was interesting about the entire event.
Time.
Alberto, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah.
We just let a PlayStation fanboy try and explain to Bobby what the biggest news in Xbox was all about. It was the dumbest idea ever.
Well, here's the thing. So me and Christian might both be wearing a PlayStation shirt right now, but I won't say it was my favorite thing in the whole world. I will say though, I did enjoy a whole lot more than just a font logo of Fable and a little bit of Halo. I guess the two things that I've been thinking about a lot after watching the showcase was is the Game Pass going to be their focus? Because it seems that like they are more focused on about their ecosystem, almost how Apple just cares. Like yes, Apple will love if you bought every one of their products, but as long as you have the MacBook or the tablets or the phones, you're kind of within their ecosystem. It seems like Xbox is like, it's fine if you have the PC, Xbox One, or Series X. You got the Game Pass, you can play it $7-10 a month. You can play all these hundreds of games, every single month for free. It's like a Netflix service. So my first thing was they had a huge heavy emphasis on probably Xbox's best feature ever, which I loved. And then the second half was I'm kind of just wondering, where do they could really stand with the whole hardware race now? Because what it's always used to be, like ever since the 90s with Super Nintendo and Genesis, it's always about my car is louder than your car, my engine roars more than yours. And then nowadays it's like you use tech talk like teraflops and stuff like that, and people just kind of scoff at it, because to us it's like, at this point, PlayStation 5 and Xbox One, let's be realistic, they're almost hardware-wise, they're almost the same. They're nearly the same. And now at this point, it really does come down to the game. So where are they going to go now with like the hardware stuff, where we're now starting to reach the same type of builds that PC gamers have been used to for so many years, and now the playing field is starting to get all leveled out. So ecosystem and hardware, those are just my two kind of questions that I had all about it.
So wait, before I forget, so the ecosystem is something, so I pay like a subscription, right? So I can play an Xbox game in theory on my Microsoft Surface.
Yeah, because they are doing like that iCloud thing too.
So y'all are kind of jumping ahead for a little bit here. I was going to get to that eventually, but what the heck, we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
Right, so tell me what's about it. So
here's my take, Bobby, and here's the takeaway that I get from what's kind of going on with this whole current console gaming war, quote unquote. Console war is essentially a thing of the past. Xbox versus PlayStation versus Nintendo. As far as consoles go, Microsoft has moved on from that fight, as it were, almost entirely. I feel like they're cranking out the greatest possible hardware console that money can buy, so that the people who are still really, really hardcore into console gaming will be able to play all of the current games that are available on the platform as best as possible, because their hardware is able to handle it the best. But Microsoft's game, since the beginning, to be honest with you, since the launch of the Xbox One, they've been playing long ball with the gaming industry and technology in general. And they've been preparing for the very moment in history where we are right now, which is for the entire gaming industry to completely shift away from physical media and even digital downloads and owning anything, and actually streaming everything via subscription service. That's where every media and every entertainment outlet is going. And Microsoft has positioned itself really well to be the only game in town who's really got a good foundation for delivering that type of service to anybody who wants to get into the gaming world. Every medium since then has all gone away from physical media and even away from digitally purchasing the rights to games, movies, TV, music, right? Like, when was the last time you legitimately bought music?
Years
right
ago.
Like, long time ago, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, the technology aspect of that is all about games taking that much more technical requirements to where the foundational baseline hardware wise and all of that just wasn't there until now. Music, like all of these mediums, right? First was news, newspapers, all of that sort of stuff. Then music, then television and media, and now it's all going into streaming, right? Games is the last kind of arena that has yet to do that, and Microsoft is kicking it into high gear.
Apple has started their little Apple Arcade,
right?
With their subscription, with their $6-7 a month price point,
right?
To play a lot of their video games. Download what you want, play with it, and
then you got Google Stadia,
right? And the thing with Google Stadia was they had a great idea. They had a terrible business model around it. Like, Microsoft has got a really, really cool position with the Game Pass to be able to say, hey, you pay a monthly subscription of like $10-15, and you get access to literally hundreds of games that you don't have to download onto your device at all. As long as you've got a decent internet connection and a controller, you can play games anywhere you want.
Can you play the classic, any of their Xbox? So can you play some of the older games?
The Game Pass library. So here's where the xCloud thing really comes into play, and building off of the amazing library that they've built in backwards compatibility that you don't have to pay extra for. Any digital games that you have, any games in your library that you've spent money on, from the original Xbox 360, Xbox One, all of that stuff technically can be played in a digital library that you have access to with your account, in addition to the hundreds of games that are in their essentially Netflix for gaming, that they have access to. And the thing that was done this past week, all the brand new games that are exclusives for them are showing up day one on that service. So like, okay, so if for the price of $15 a month,
right,
and a controller, connect it to your phone, and then you're able to play 4K games, 60 frames a second, day one, without having to drop $300, $400, $500 on a new console. You know,
Well, I think that as a person, I don't want to spend money on a console. You know, if
Yeah,
I wanted to
there we
pick a
go.
game,
There we go.
I want to buy the controller, I'll buy the subscription. And if I want to play, like, all right, I want to play some classic game because I haven't bought a game in forever.
Right.
If it's on there, then that's kudos to me.
Right.
So, and I think it's worth the price point for gamers to play their old games and the new games for $10 a month.
Right.
A steady stream of money is better than no stream of money, especially when people are, you know, every dollar is going to be budgeted now.
Right. Alberto, what do you think? What do you think about the whole xCloud and all of that stuff, and like physical games and everything being digital or streaming? Like, what do you think about that? I feel like they were highlighting a lot of that at the Microsoft thing.
Yeah.
This is all going to be available for everybody if you subscribe to our thing, you know?
Yeah. I got a lot of thoughts, but I think, like, first thought is the idea of physical copies. Dan, you're a collector. I'm a collector myself. I love just being able just to collect games.
I know.
So no matter what, there's always going to be like at least a small market for people like us.
Right.
But the majority of people, and realistically, you know, they don't have that attachment anymore to the physical copies of stuff. As long as I can play it, I beat it, I got bored of it, whatever. It's it's not cluttering up my bookshelf, nothing. So it's good. I like that there's
how many games are now viewed as a service in and of themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like MMOs, massive service, right? Rainbow Six Siege, that's a service, you know.
Fortnite, Call of Duty.
Fortnite, right, exactly. Like, it's not just a game. It is now something that once you get connected with, it is constantly pumping out new content to keep it changing, keep it fresh, and keep you coming back.
Especially in the like season pass style,
right?
Where like it's not even like the full DLC style anymore.
No,
it's the pay $10 every 4 months to get through 4 months of content.
Yeah,
like.
So, Christian, I'm curious what your thoughts are to the Microsoft reveal. Did you watch the whole thing?
So I know. So I did. So I don't know if I've told you this, Dan. So when I was younger, I was a even split. I had a PS. So I originally started out Nintendo. I had an NES. I had a Nintendo 64. Then I got an Xbox. Then I got a PS2. Then I had a 360. I had a 360 before I had a PS3 because obviously 360 came out a year before the PS3 did. So I up until this generation, I was a pretty even split, and so I was able to sit through it. I forwarded through some of the games that looked less interesting.
Yeah,
but honestly, I do have to say the Xbox Game Pass it's a big deal.
Yeah,
it is. Sony tried they had like the PlayStation Now thing.
Yeah.
Which
tried that.
Which they use that majorly for to replace the backwards compatibility that they don't have.
Right.
They use that a lot for the older games, and they use that to do kind of like remastering almost. It brings them to a higher kind of.
But not really significantly an improvement.
They're not. They're not. But it's a hey, you can play these old games in a slightly better resolution. That sort of stuff. You don't have to buy them. You can so it's just two different mindsets. Whereas Xbox and Microsoft, they integrate the backwards compatibility, and they're using their streaming service to bring you the newest stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sony is bringing you the newest stuff and using the streaming as kind of that accent to give you the backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
And I have to say, if I owned an Xbox and I had the option to pay $15 a month to get access to stream a bunch of those games, I would do it.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what is the price point.
Here's the thing. The xCloud, you don't have to own an Xbox. like right now it's just in the beta phase, right? Like I have a subscription to it because I'm a beta tester for it, and I've been playing with it all the time. Like if I was going to load up my picture to show you guys, I don't have it, but like on my lunch break at work, I'd sit down and play a little bit of Destiny 2, right? Or this weekend, I brought my, here it is right here, right? Like I've got 5G connection here, and I've got streaming access to both Microsoft's library of xCloud, which at this moment is only 50 games because it's in the beta testing phase, as well as connecting it to my Xbox at home. Those are two separate things.
Yeah.
If someone were to be like, let's say, for example, someone like, like you, Christian, who was half and half, or maybe someone who was a huge fan of the Xbox 360, Microsoft lost you with the Xbox One, and now you're looking at this next generation and thinking, well, where do I want to go? Xbox is less worried about whether or not you are going to buy their console and more interested in getting you as an actual subscriber to their services. Exactly. That's why when Phil Spencer, like 2-3 years ago, was told, or he made it clear in an interview, we're not competing with Sony. We consider our competitors to be Apple and Google. And everybody was laughing at him. Like everybody's going, what do you mean you're not? Like Sony's your competitor. How are you competing with Apple and Google? That's ridiculous. And everybody's laughing at him, thinking Microsoft is out of their mind because they're not even having a competition with the people who are competing with them. Well, they were smart enough to realize the future of gaming is not in a console that people are dropping $500 on. It's right here. Like this is the future of gaming. Streaming directly to your devices, period. And if you can get people who left Xbox to go back to Xbox through a subscription service where they get instant access to all of the #1 exclusive titles on Xbox the day it releases to all of their phones and all of their TVs and all of their tablets and all of that, like that's a game changer, right? Yeah. Game changer.
And I just looked it up. So it is $14.99 a month for the
Xbox
Game Pass Ultimate.
Ultimate Game Pass. Yep.
Yeah, I was looking at it too. So $10 a month for the console, $10 a month for PC games, $15 a month for both PC and console games. So I'm not necessarily but I'm assuming most games are now made for all three platforms. So
now let me ask you a question, Dan, because you would probably know this. Yeah. Does the Xbox Game Pass replace your Xbox Live membership, or would you need both?
Well, it depends. If you get Game Pass Ultimate, that's basically a gold account with Game Pass for both PC and console together.
Okay. So if you got $15.99 a month or $14.99 a month, you get to play online and you get streaming access to the newest releases.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great deal. I can't lie. Yeah. That's a fantastic deal.
And here's where I think Sony really needs to like let their pride down a little bit and recognize that they're kind of bringing a knife to a gunfight if they're all hyped up on a console and not preparing for the future of gaming to be about streaming services, because that's where all entertainment has gone.
I will say, Dan, I disagree with you on the fact that there is no place for a console in the future.
I'm not saying there's no place for it. I'm saying that it is not going to be the measure of success for any of these companies any longer. Microsoft isn't going to be measuring its success and selling to any private vendors or third-party game, developers. Hey, look at how many consoles we sold, as that being like the baseline of the amount of people that can be reached by making a game for their platform, because the console is not the measurement now for that at all. If you can have X amount of subscribers, that's the measurement now. You know what I mean? Like it's not about how many people bought the console. It's not anymore. Sorry, Bobby, I cut you off. What was that?
I was cutting you off. I'm sorry. I think it's about the quality of the games too,
Yeah.
and the typical. Because I will tell you, out of all that stuff, I don't care. I want to play Legend of Zelda. I want to play Super Mario Maker. I would rather get a Nintendo just because of those two things. But the problem is, I can't play the new Avengers game because that's not on Nintendo. So that's kind of where I'm torn.
Yeah. Alberto.
Yeah.
What do you think? Future of games, streaming, PlayStation. What's just at this point now with everything we saw over the week? What direction are you leaning? Would you go PlayStation? Would you go Xbox?
At the beginning of July, when Sony was the only one that did their event, I was like, oh, okay, well, Sony. I mean, like for sure, I've yet to hear or really see anything about Xbox. Now Xbox is finally showing their guns and whatnot. And while I wasn't blown away by it, it definitely got me kind of thinking, because what I realized, like, example, Halo Infinite, like it or not, like the gameplay, or whether it's paying like huge respects to the first game or it's just a huge downgrade 360 game, whatever on side of the fence you are on it, it's cool to know that the newest Halo entry is still going to be playable on the Xbox One, and then it's also included in the Xbox Game Pass. Yeah. So I'm excited because I'm thinking, I'm already subscribed. My subscription doesn't end until like Christmas. So you're telling me that with my current Xbox One at home, I can still play the newest Master Chief storyline and still play the other 6 Halo games because it's all included in my subscription? I'm totally okay with that. So I'm kind of on the fence where I no longer really feel this huge need anymore I have to get a console day one this holiday season in order to keep up with everything, because I'm really thankful that like something like Game Pass exists, where it's kind of like, hey, for the next year and a half, maybe 2 years at the absolute most, you'll still get access to a lot of like the bigger games. Buy them digitally if you want, buy them on the disc. We'll do the smart delivery too, which means if you buy it once, you can play it on the upgraded console. I really like that. And so far, Sony is really thinking, listen, whoever wants to come with us to the future, whoever wants to come with us to 2021, they can join us. If you want to sit around and keep playing Conker's Bad Fur Day or Panzer Dragon and everything else in between, you go ahead, you stay with the early 2000s, but we're going to the future. So they definitely have that mindset. So if you're a fan of keeping up with the latest and greatest only and have no attachment really to the past, I think Sony would be the boat that you're going to be jumping on. But if you're kind of like you and me, Dan, who I do like to revisit my older games. I mean, last summer I beat Max Payne 2 just because I'm like, this is an older game, 2000, whatever, 4, 5, 6. I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the original Xbox last summer too, and I just beat it just because I really like enjoying the old games. So Xbox kind of is speaking to me just a little bit more, only because of just how easy it is for me to stay in touch with the next generation without dropping $500-$600 just so I can play new things.
Here's right now for the xCloud, Project xCloud. Here's the games that they have as just part of the beta test. There's just over 50, but here's what they got right now. I don't know if you're noticing some of the Bobby, your Batman Arkham game, right? We got Arkham Knights on there. Ark Survival Evolved is a massive game. Borderlands. Let's see, what else do we got? Darksiders, Dead by Daylight, Destiny, Dragon Age Inquisition, Forza, Gears 5, Gears of War Limited Edition, Halo 5 or Ultimate Edition, like all the major Halo, like Xbox Halo Master Chief Collection, all the major Xbox exclusives are in there, and I don't think they're going anywhere. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I mean, it's Netflix for gaming, you know?
Yeah. I remember when it was first starting, and I was just kind of thinking, I'm never going to care about that. But I like it because it's a very low commitment way of trying out a lot of games without me having to buy them all, and either buy them used at GameStop and returning it in a week, or buying them new and then just being stuck with them. Like, well, here's a $20-$40 game I bought, and I'm kind of stuck with it. I could sell it for $5, but now I'm kind of stuck with this.
So, and here's the thing, like, I mean, we can get into this conversation. The price of games, it looks like, is going up. by a lot of accounts.
Yeah, it's very torn. People there's
some studios keeping it at 60.
Yeah, at least for now.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ubisoft said that their release next gen games, so like Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion and that sort of stuff, those will be 60 at launch. But then you have 2K, where NBA 2K21 they're showing as $70.
Right.
And so,
to be honest, though, here's the thing: the price of games has not gone up with the price of inflation.
No, it hasn't. It's been $60 for as long as I can remember.
Ridiculous. Like everything else goes up in price.
Yeah.
Games have been $60 for decades.
Right.
Like crazy.
Yeah.
So when people start complaining about $70 for the price of one game, it's like, well, technically, the way that games are structured and the way that they're made now, if you're dropping $60, you're getting the base game. But if you want the whole shebang, extra content, extra DLC, all of those, like it is you're dropping $100, $120,
sometimes
$140.
I mean, you have some games though where that $60 gets you hundreds of hours of gameplay.
Yeah, true.
Like I just finally played through Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I got it right around Christmas time in 2018, like Black Friday, Christmas time. It was on sale. Played it a little bit, and then kind of just lost track of it for a while. And a couple months ago, I was like, you know what? Valhalla is coming out soon. I never really played Odyssey. Like, I want to get back into that. And there's a bunch of DLCs I could have bought, but I didn't. I just was sticking with the base game. It took me like 85 hours to get the platinum trophy on it. I don't know about you. 85 hours worth of content for $60, that's not a bad deal. And that's not even 100%ing the game. That's just me. I wanted to get the platinum. I could probably sink another 30 hours into that game to 100% it.
So let me throw this at you guys then. How much do you think video games should cost for this next generation system? Like, how much are you willing to pay for a game?
I think if they are going with physical versus digital, like you have PlayStation who's going to have the physical disc tray option and an all digital copy, I think digital games should be cheaper. I've been saying that for a while, that I think digital games should be cheaper than physical copies, because you're not having to pay for the manufacturing of the disc, you're not having to pay for the box, you're not having to pay for any of that stuff.
Right.
You're still paying for someone to store the digital copy on a server and running that stuff.
And in addition to that, Christian, the reason why you've had things like loot boxes and all of these more like free-to-play mechanics weaseling their way into full retail games is because the price of video games has not gone up to the point that it makes it viable for companies to make AAA titles, knowing that they're probably not going to reach that benchmark and they got to find another way to make revenue.
I personally would be okay with spending $70 on next gen games.
For me, it would be good. I'd be all right with that. I don't know that that's still where it needs to be, but yeah, like I just, Alberto, what do you think? The price of games for digital, physical, like, I mean, I feel like physical, yes, the manufacturing and all that stuff is a cost, but I feel like the digital library of games is where the studios that are doing the best make the most like overhead or whatever you want to call it. What do you think? Should digital games be cheaper? Should the price of games go up, stay the same? What do you think?
A little bit of both. So I come from a boat. I know there's people online that have already been talking a lot about the whole price point stuff, and some people are really upset about it, mainly because once it reaches $70, the next question is, when is it going to be $80 and so on? And it's starting to become a really expensive hobby, not to mention the hardware that you have to buy, but not the software that you have to start buying a lot. So I understand that whole standpoint, but in all honesty, I wouldn't mind if the game prices go up, only for the sole purpose because As far as new releases go, I maybe am buying 3 new games a year. Other than that, I'm just sticking the rest of the year to finishing games that I've had for years ago, going back and revisiting 2000s games. Like I just said, I played old Xbox games. 2 weeks ago, I was playing an N64 game with my girlfriend. So in my head, I'm thinking there's enough material, media to keep me busy for a lifetime, and there really isn't even enough time to be keeping up with everything. So if anything, I think it's welcoming to know that the price will go up because maybe it will make people a little more selective into their purchases. Then they can't just be buying stuff and then complaining and saying, oh, well, I bought this, because of that. Well, now at this point, it's like, well, you know how much this is going to cost plus tax. Kind of do your research, see if this is really something that you have the time or the even like the care for. And if it is, then go ahead and invest into it. But I'm still catching up on things that I've been trying to watch and trying to
the
finish.
backlog of games, like, and this is where the digital side of stuff I think has really come in and changed the way that people are approaching gaming. Like people are just waiting until the price drops.
Yeah,
in the digital side, it's for sure. Like they just wait. Humble Bundle and Steam, like you wait until the massive sale hits, and then instead of dropping $60 on one game, you drop $15, $20, $30 on like 8 games, or whatever. And then you've got all these games that you're never even going to play just sitting in your backlog. It's like, what, like, how is this the future of video games?
Yeah.
Like, how did we get to this?
I'm in the same boat as Alberto. I typically only buy a couple games a year. I've bought more games in the last like 2 months just because there's been a lot of good games coming out than I probably bought in the last year and a half. Like, and so that's kind of how it is. Like for me personally, unless a game really like stands out to me and something that like I'm interested in the story of and something I'm worried about getting spoiled, or a game that I know I'm going to really want to play the multiplayer in, that's really the only time I'm getting it right at the launch. Yeah. Like you got games like, okay, like Last of Us 2. I bought that day one because I'm like, okay, it was already almost being spoiled from all the leaks and stuff like that. I wasn't taking any chance of trying to wait for that. You've got Ghost of Tsushima, where I was just really hyped for it. I thought it was going to be a really good game. Other than that, the last new game I bought was Call of Duty in November. Because, again, wanted to play the multiplayer.
Yeah.
So other than that,
generations of fans with a franchise move over to the next one, and you kind of have to move with them if you're doing the multiplayer.
Exactly. And that's how they make their money.
That's how they make their money.
And honestly, though,
all the NFL, NBA, and MLB, all the sports games run the same gimmick, I guess.
I haven't personally bought a physical copy of a game for myself in probably 2 years.
Yeah.
Because it's just simpler. It's just simpler to buy digital. You don't have to go to the store. You can pre-download, especially nowadays too. Like it's simpler, it's quicker.
So, okay, so that kind of brings me to this graphic here that I found, and I apologize ahead of time for the language for some people who have virgin ears and or eyes. Feel free to shield yourselves now, but as a grown-ups kind of thing, this is gaming. Right here. 1997. Yeah. Oh my God, look at the graphics. Are so real. 2013. This thing looks so pixelated. These graphics are terrible, right? Then, if I can get my banner out of there, let me get the banner out so we can actually read it. Right there. My PC can't even handle how realistic these graphics are, and it keeps slowing down, and people are whining and complaining about it. Like, can you satisfy gamers at all?
Nope. Just like you can't satisfy fanboys for movies.
You really can't. We've had that conversation about Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
You really can't. You really can't. But I think, honestly, this is what makes me the most excited about what Microsoft is doing. You don't have to drop hundreds of dollars on a massive PC or on a new console that's, whatever, to be able to play the newest and greatest games.
You just need a really good internet connection.
But here's the deal, Christian. The really good internet connection, is going to be the standard in not too long. Like it just is.
Yeah.
You know,
yes,
you've
yes
got
and
more
no.
and more communities that are getting fiber optic wire installed for internet. You've got 5G popping up all over the place, and it's going to be the standard for people's phones. And once that becomes a broader thing, that's going to be all people need to be able to bring their games on the go. Yes, Bobby, you don't have to raise your hand. Go ahead,
Well,
chime in.
I have a tendency of interrupting people, so
No,
I would
you're
rather
good.
hold my
We're-
hand.
we're
I would
okay.
raise my hand to make sure.
We're all right with
I
that.
think the real winner of at the end, console wars, company wars, is going to be who can put all their games on every single platform. How can Nintendo, Xbox, and Sony reach me the easiest? So I think going digital is the way to go. But can you put that platform on an Apple TV, on an Android or iOS device? I think if they can make that jump with their games, then you're going to have a true divisive winner.
That's huge, right?
I
If
think
they can get
that's
they
the
can
thing.
get Xbox Live, xCloud gaming on Apple TV.
That's it.
That sounds awesome, right? Alberto, you were going to say something? Or no?
No. That's exactly like the same thoughts that I have. Like I feel that is what it is. I mean, with a few years back in the introduction of mobile gaming, it just seems that gaming has been more about like how can we bring everyone into this? No longer trust people like us four, but more along the lines of like how can we bring the spouses and the kids, maybe someone that hasn't gamed since 85 with the NES. Like how can we even get them reintroduced into our systems, into our new stories that we want to be told? So Bobby hit it right on the head.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think most of the big heavy hitters, with the exception of PlayStation, maybe because their head's been a little big with all their success, have recognized that as being the future. I mean, PlayStation, yes, they have the remote play where you can tap into your own console remotely, which is great. And they've had the PlayStation Now where you can play some of the classic games on like a TV or whatever. But I feel like, okay, Nintendo, the entire model for their system was not centered around how amazing the hardware was, like graphics wise or anything like that, right?
Yeah, it's the mobility.
Like, it was all about
accessibility.
the mobility and accessibility for everybody. And Microsoft is even doing partnerships and working on stuff with Nintendo to be able to get Xbox Live streaming even onto a Nintendo Switch, right? Like those are conversations that are being had. So I don't know that Sony's really positioned itself to be able to jump in and provide that service at this moment when the iron is going to be hot. They're going to be playing catch up in about a year or two when everybody else is doing that and they don't have the infrastructure for it yet.
And you can see some of the sorry, Christian.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say you can see some of the game developers are already jumping on that bandwagon. Yeah. See, I can as a classic gamer, I can go on to my Apple TV and buy Sonic the Hedgehog. I can buy Chrono Trigger and play any of the classic Final Fantasy PlayStation games. So that's where the money gold is for me. So as soon as Nintendo has been releasing some of their games on iOS, but if they can start releasing some of their classic games or newer games on iOS, I will convince my wife to let me buy a subscription to a Nintendo Pass. That's the thing.
Right. So
I think that it's just two different priorities. I think, like you said, Microsoft has been focusing for a couple of years now on building that kind of all-around accessibility thing. Anybody can jump in and find a Xbox game. Yeah. Whereas I think Sony has been looking at it from and And I think it has a lot to do with the companies as well. You have Microsoft, which is a lot
really.
more of a, has a lot more, you know, their hands are in a lot of different pots, so to speak.
Yeah.
Sony's kind of all in on their PlayStation brand, as well as like TVs and that sort of stuff. Whereas, so I think Sony's looking at it as they want to build the PlayStation brand and build the PlayStation 5 to be the place to go. They don't want you to be able to go to all these other places.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to say the PlayStation 5 is the only place I can get X, Y, or Z.
Right.
And they want to they want you to go there to get it. It's like when Netflix first came out. Netflix was the only place you could go to get what Netflix was offering. And then you have all these other companies who started building these different streaming services now. And so now everybody's battling for this territory. So I think Sony's trying to just be that be all end all of, you want to play the best games, you want to play these top exclusives, you have to come to a PlayStation 5.
Right. That's putting a lot of the weight on the exclusives, which I think is probably taking a play out of Nintendo's playbook.
Yeah. But I mean, if you think about it, I mean, that's what Sony's been pushing for years.
Definitely draws people in. But here's the thing, though. I feel like they need to recognize the future of the industry. Otherwise, they're going to be the only people at the table left paying the check when everybody else has moved on to the party next door. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like,
it depends.
They're focusing console. Check out our sweet, amazing console. And then Microsoft and Nintendo and everybody else is like, hey, we're at the party next door where you can just drop $15 a month and pay $40 for a controller and play all of our games.
But if the games are good enough, people will always be coming.
Yeah. I was going to say,
go for it, Alberto.
I was going to say two things to kind of like a combination of what you were touching on and Christian.
A question from the audience here too. I'm going to throw at you guys in a sec, but go ahead.
The two things that for sure Sony, like Christian was saying, they're sticking to their absolute best guns, and it has been for a very long time. Will continue to be their exclusives. I have a PS4 now, specifically just because I saw Horizon Zero Dawn, and I was thinking I have to play that. And then as soon as Spider-Man dropped, I got to play that, Bloodborne, and everything else in between. They have really solid exclusive titles. And I wouldn't even say that like they're going to be playing catch up necessarily, because regardless of this huge ecosystem that Microsoft is trying to build, there's still one big thing that hasn't entered at least our conversation, and it is overseas. Sony has always had a presence, you know, being a company from Japan. They have always been a company that has such a solid presence over there. So they cater to a lot of the audiences out there, where Microsoft has really struggled with it because they were so focused on, we're going to make our own identity and stand on our own 2 feet, which they have. But now if you were watching the pre-show and also the Xbox exclusive, they started to show a lot more like JRPGs, Japanese action games, because now they're starting.
They're bringing in Phantasy Star Online 2.
Yep.
That's a huge deal. That is a big deal. For that to be an exclusive on Microsoft is a really big deal.
And just last month, I remember reading like news on the Xbox Game Pass. They just brought over all of the Kingdom Hearts games, which has been a huge staple in the Sony library. So I like the direction that Xbox is going, because this is almost their way of saying, listen, we also kind of recognize that like Sony has their own exclusives, but one big thing is that we're missing the other half of the world too. They too are also buying things, and which is what Nintendo is really good at with connecting over there. PlayStation is excellent with connecting over there, and the only time we really tell how good of a connection will Microsoft speak to audiences over there as well, and that's a huge thing, I think.
Yeah, their overseas presence has been. It's always been something I think they've struggled with. They definitely need to up that. Let's just real quick take a quick comparison look here at. This is according to IGN, and then we'll get to our audience question. Thank you guys for throwing questions out. I love that. If you got more questions or comments, directing at any of us individually, even feel free to throw it out there.
You want to call one of us out for a bad take? Feel free.
Yeah, go for it. Hot take. So this is all of the stuff confirmed officially for the Xbox Series X. The list here, if we can look at it, if it is in bold, it is an exclusive. If it is in green, it will utilize the smart delivery, which is basically if you buy it digitally on the Xbox One, you'll also be having it on the Xbox One X and the Series X and all that stuff. Like, it'll instantly recognize which system you're playing it on and load up the save in the version that you are loading it on based on whatever system you're on. So, which is pretty cool that it's like sharing all of that. But let's just look at the exclusives here based on the news that we had here. We've got 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, Psychonauts 2. I was really excited when I saw that, actually. How many was that? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19. Based on IGN. As of right now, 19 exclusives at launch or shortly thereafter.
At the very least, confirmed to be coming at some point.
Confirmed to be coming as an exclusive to the system.
Okay.
Here's PlayStation. Same deal. In the blue are all exclusives. Okay. We've got 1. All right. Exclusives are
in blue. Bold are timed exclusives.
Exclusives. Okay. So exclusives are what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Now, but here's the question.
So
the second piece of that. Yeah.
Here's about half what Xbox has right now.
Yeah, but the second piece of that is how good are they? Xbox has had 2 events.
True. That is true.
They've had 2 events to announce stuff.
They didn't even really announce all of their stuff and all.
Right.
But
so PlayStation still is 1 event behind, which if they're about half, that would make sense.
Could see that.
And they've still got a ton of companies left that are working on games.
Yeah.
You've got Santa Monica Studios, they're working on something. You've got Guerrilla Games, they're working on something. Even though yes, they are working on Horizon. They've got their 2 teams.
Yeah.
So you've got all these companies that are working on something. And the other thing too in there is Microsoft just purchased a bunch of those indie studios.
I wouldn't say they were indie studios. Some of them were, for sure.
Yeah, well, but they purchased like 12 independent,
like a dozen different studios. Yeah.
And so, but none of them were like AAA studios, is basically what I'm saying. Or a couple, like hardly any of them.
Not all of them, but yeah.
Right. So whereas the majority of the studios that Sony has personally in their Sony studios are AAA companies.
They are now.
Right.
Because they
right, exactly. So you have a lot of those games that are exclusive to Xbox that are coming out that are smaller games that are testing the water, that are the first game these companies are releasing for Microsoft. So that could definitely build exclusive franchises for them down the line.
Microsoft is able to do that with studios that prove themselves there. I mean, you look at, 343, right?
Yeah.
And Halo, they built a massive AAA title cranking out studio. Same thing with, now it's called the Coalition, but the whole Gears of War franchise, right? Like everything with Epic and all of that.
Yeah.
Like it's
after we do our audience question, I have a question I would like to pose to you guys.
You want to throw it to me? Okay. Says, okay, so this is from Josh. Says, do you see any possibility for future disruptions in the industry on the horizon And do you see anybody in the industry capitalizing on money-grabbing woes? And then he also follows it up with, do you see anybody in the industry capitalizing on the industry's money-grabbing woes? Basically, how does the cash grab get fixed? I think he's probably talking about like
loot boxes and
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The season pass, like
Great question,
system.
Josh.
Yeah.
What do you think? How do we stop game studios from being on crazy predatory practices?
Stop buying companies. Stop buying the games.
I was gonna say the answer is it's super easy, but actually doing it is
like telling a crack addict to stop. Like just stop. Just stop. You
want Call of Duty to stop releasing trash games? Stop buying Call of Duty every year.
Yeah, but it's Call of Duty and I have to play it. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, my friends are playing it. I can't not play with my friends.
These are facts, yeah.
Right.
Well, look at Ubisoft. Look at Ubisoft. They were releasing an Assassin's Creed game every year. And then after a string of poor sales performances with Syndicate and Unity,
Syndicate actually wasn't that bad, but Unity
it sold poorly.
Yeah, it was.
And so then they were like, okay, we need to reevaluate our release model. And so now they've been taking 2 years between every game.
Yeah. Do you think loot boxes and all of that is still going to be a thing moving forward, or do you think that's?
I think the Battlefront fiasco kind of killed most loot boxes.
Bobby? Are you aware of that? You're not a huge gamer, but are you aware?
No, I know that the loot box was like a pay to play. Like if you want to be the best, you better pay them the bigger money so you can have the bigger guns and. So, I mean, I get the DLC packs where you want to buy the extended levels. Great.
Right.
But I think that's kind of bogus for if I want to be the best, I'm just going to pay more money.
Here's my crazy idea. Here's my crazy idea with allowing studios to make money and feed the largest possible audience, but then still have incentive to be spending money and playing games, buying the full thing. What if the multiplayer, if it's good, free to play, not unlike Call of Duty's Warframe is, right? But then if you want really, really good gear to be added into your multiplayer experience to give you an edge, you can only unlock that stuff by playing through the campaigns and playing through the actual story of the other games. The actual, like the rest of the full game, not just multiplayer.
Here's the thing.
Sorry, go ahead, Bobby.
Chris, you go first.
Okay.
You're more knowledgeable.
I don't think any game should ever limit your ability to compete in a multiplayer setting by how much money you spent on the game.
Right, but here's the thing, Christian. It's not about spending. Well, here's the deal. It's almost pay to win, but not quite.
If it gives you any competitive advantage.
No, hear me out. From a perspective of a studio needing to make money off of these games, if they create a campaign or a co-op campaign that you can do with your friends, right? And you want to beat the campaign, you finish the campaign with your friends, you do it on the highest difficulty level ever, and then that unlocks a specific thing that you can then bring into the multiplayer. It's not pay to win.
If that's cosmetic, that's fine.
You're not paying to win because it's something you got to earn, right? You're not just forking over $30 just to buy a kick-ass gun, right? So if someone goes into a multiplayer game and they've got this kick-ass gun, the way that they know they got it was that they earned it by completing the campaign on the hardest difficulty level possible.
I'm fine with that if the campaign's not money.
Yeah, I was gonna say
money. That's fine.
I was gonna say one thing, like I know that Christian was just talking about Call of Duty, but I'm not gonna lie, the Warzone is pretty addictive, especially if you got somebody to play it with. So the reason I bring that up is because I think over the years, I appreciate that Activision has really taken a step back and started to look back at their loot boxes and in that whole fiasco as well, because the only thing you can buy now is something called it was like a battle pass, which is $10 if you want to buy it, and it just unlocks a bunch of gun blueprints, which again, like someone might say is like, oh, but the blueprint, you might get a legendary blueprint that's super good and unlock stuff. It's
but
like,
you can build that.
Yeah, it's like, but you can build that too, and plus it's player preference. Like some people really like these kind of scopes on their guns, and some people like iron sights. So it might not even be that good for you. This is just like special builds that are just highlighted. And to the thing that you were mentioning, Dan, they even lock some skins, some operators, I guess, and other types of like cosmetic and DLCs behind co-op missions that you have to finish. You only get certain kind of characters or skins as well if you finish certain missions in the actual campaign.
Right.
They also do trial modes, which are basically like challenges that you can do online for free. You just use whatever token that you earn while like playing the actual game, and then you can unlock again different kinds of builds, different kinds of cosmetics that you want for your guns and for your character, for your vehicles. So if it's in that vein, like Christian was saying, where it's cosmetic, I'm not being punished for not dropping $10 every 6 weeks for the newest battle pass.
Right.
I'm all for it. That's fine. That's awesome. That's great. I hope companies, specifically like ones that do 2K every single year, the ones that do Madden every single year, those seem to be the ones that get away with murder every single year. They just slightly up-res something, they reuse something, and we even saw that recently last year with Pokemon. I remember when Pokemon came out, I ended up buying it because I like Pokemon, but at the same time I played it, I'm like, this is pretty much the same game from my little handheld 3DS that I bought 3, 4, 5 years ago. It's the exact same thing, and they got away with it because, well, it's Pokemon. Don't you want to play with everyone? Like everyone wants to play it, and here's the new bells and whistles. I'm like, well, you know, it was a rush production, so you still kind of see. So to kind of answer the question from our viewer, the answer is really easy. We just got to stop financially supporting these companies and stop letting them get away and be vocal. Yeah, that's the easy part, but like Dan said, the hard part is really honestly is just sticking with it and just saying, it's like my one purchase might not make a difference, but if enough people are vocal about it and if enough people give it a pushback, like they did with Call of Duty after Advanced Warfare and Ghost
and Halo after Halo 5,
or Battlefront 2 with the loot boxes and that.
Yeah, little by little, there's tons of reform happening in the next installment.
People, especially when the loot boxes started going into single player stuff, people were like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, what is this?" You know,
I will say,
ridiculous. But
I think Fortnite.
Go ahead, Christian.
I think Fortnite helped that a lot. Fortnite helped the loot box system and the purchasing stuff, turning it more to cosmetics. You know, it was one of the first games where the only thing you could buy
just cosmetics
was cosmetics. You could buy the new skin, you could buy the new dance, you could buy the new parachute. You could buy just all these things that didn't give you any advantage on gameplay, but made you look cool.
You can play as Deadpool.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that I'm fine with, because you know what? I don't have to spend a cent on any of that if I don't want to.
Right. Yeah. You just got 11-year-old kids making fun of you because you're still looking new.
But you know what? 11-year-old kids have been, if you've played Xbox Live ever in your life, you've had 11-year-old kids talking trash to you.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if you're playing online with a microphone,
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Well,
you're kind of
all this
absorbing all nerdum, gaming talk as an outsider, and I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are here.
I'm trying to think of it as a economics business perspective. First, I don't think you're going to stop microtransactions in video games anytime soon. I think the cat's out of the bag, and it's going to happen more than ever, or it's going to continue to happen. And right now, too, with the invention of all digital downloads, Dan, you can't give me a copy of your game and let me play it anymore. I have to buy it myself. So you're also stopping the secondary market of video games.
GameStop definitely going the way of Blockbuster Video. Like,
right. So that's kind of what
stock
all this is. This is where it's all happening. To stop the loot boxes, guys, the fans, they need to put their money where their mouth is and say, we're not going to buy this game if it has a loot box. So
it's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, you guys.
Bit of the local Uber brew here, and I'm enjoying it. It's good.
If people are passionate about social change and they're passionate about changing the way games are made, you're going to get on a big Twitter, Reddit, social media campaign to have people stop buying a game and let them realize, okay, this is hitting our pockets. We need to figure out a new way. So that's the only way change is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
But but Disney sold or changed the rights to their new video games. So the new piloting games coming out right now. So is that supposed to have loot boxes?
I don't think so.
We don't know a ton about it.
I don't know. From what it sounds like, EA is saying that they're not going to do loot boxes, and I think they learned their lesson. They've got legal action and stuff because of Battlefront, but
yeah. So that's the way that's social change. So you have people on two fronts, on a social media front and on a legal front, attacking a company right where it hits them in their pocketbooks, and that's the way you're going to change the industry.
Yeah.
But the way technology goes and stuff, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, and especially in these economic times. How is it?
Make a huge monkey wrench in all of this. I think it's going to change.
Yes.
Yeah. Alberto,
so will this delay?
Oh, then well, the point that I was going to get at too is I was reading the YouTube comment and I saw that Joshua had another follow-up question. So I hope it's okay that I kind of just jumped the gun and just
that's fine. Where's the other? Okay, is it this one here? Do you think they can solve the solution? This one?
Yeah, it's because I was gonna say sometimes I see this in modern times now. So an example is this. Tony Hawk series is still my absolute favorite franchise all time. I'm terrible at skateboarding, but that soundtrack and everything else, absolutely love it.
Second to none. That's so good.
Absolutely love it. And the downside was I remember playing all the games growing up, and eventually you just got exhausted because they either felt the same or they felt worse than the year before. And you saw that
mauling it.
Exactly. So it's like it's happened to series like Tony Hawk and series even kind of like Crash Bandicoot when they were going through their yearly release, and they're trying to change up things here and there, but never really hitting the right bell.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of tackle that question, sometimes the answer it's a two-part answer. One, kind of how Christian was also saying, you just take a break. Maybe it's an extra year, maybe it's 2 years. But what I've seen the most is that Vicarious Visions, which is like the studio that did the recent Crash Insane trilogy, which is fantastic. It's a great, reimagining of the trilogy and whatnot. They're tackling also the new Tony Hawk remastered of 1 and 2, which looks gorgeous with Tony Hawk being there, and he seems to be super proud of the project. And it looks like a huge love letter to those of the fans. So it looked like time not only healed it, and is bringing in tons of interest back into the series, but sometimes some fresh new hands is really what's needed. So sometimes you need a company like Vicarious to come in and just take their best whack at it, and sometimes it really hits it out of the ballpark. Because after Insane Trilogy, Crash Bandicoot 4 now is being developed by a different company, but now Crash Bandicoot 4 is coming out, and who knows? I mean, now there might be a new Tony Hawk game coming out. Maybe there's going to be more remasters along the route, but Tony Hawk's around. And what are the chances that Tony Hawk is around? There's also 2 more skateboarding games after a nearly 10-year drought of skateboarding games even being released for the market. There's even a skateboarding game with little birds. You're a little bird with a helmet, and you're skateboarding. So the interest is back. So sometimes it's just time and just some fresh new hands. Something that's really what's needed.
Yeah.
And I will say, touching on the first part of Josh's original question, do we see any possibilities for future disruptions in the industry? I don't think so. I mean, we were in a global pandemic and gaming was bigger than it ever has been because people were locked in their houses.
Right.
People who enjoy gaming are always going to make time and make money for gaming. It might not be as much as you used to be able to, but people who love gaming are always going to find a way to enjoy gaming. You know, even if it's 4 nerds sitting around giving their opinion on stuff people don't care about.
What are you talking about, Christian? I have no
Yeah,
idea. People do that. What?
So I don't think. I think realistically, the only kind of disruption I see would be another like massive economic issue.
Yeah.
That would be the only thing.
COVID's been a huge disruption.
It has.
It absolutely has buried the physical game industry.
It has, and it's also buried the movie theater industry, and it's buried a lot of industries. But you know what? Digital gaming and gaming as a whole was more profitable during COVID than it ever has been.
Yeah. Where did Bobby go? Bobby just dropped out. Where'd he go?
Sure. Maybe some connection.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lost his connection, maybe.
Yeah.
But I had a question also, Dan, real quick.
Go for it, Alberto. We'll be wrapping. I think we're about done wrapping up here, but
no. Well, I wanted to touch.
We kind of need 4 of us at least to do a debate or a pointless debate this week. But if Bobby's out, then we might have to. Worst case
scenario, we can always just do one between the 2 of you guys if he doesn't pop back in.
Fair enough. That's a good call. Who's picking the topic this week? Oh, Joe was supposed to pick the topic.
No, I had the topic.
Did you pick the topic?
Yeah. Alberto, what was your question though? You were finishing up a question.
No, real quick. I wanted to touch up on a point that Bobby wrote in our chat earlier. One thing he asked was, has Nintendo accepted third place? So this is kind of like a topic that's always been in the back of my head because, I mean, today's talk is about PlayStation 5 and Xbox and the future of gaming. I feel that Nintendo is also kind of tackling something that's really well, and something that Bobby was really talking about is introducing gaming to a whole new wide range of people, kind of how like the Wii did so well. Nintendo, for example, says Red Dead Redemption 2, amazing game, and it looks beautiful as it is. I remember when I bought the Xbox One X, popped it back in, and I was sitting next to my girlfriend Ariella, and I was telling her, "Look at that grass, look at the dirt." And to her, it's like it looked pretty before and it looks pretty now. Yeah. But then she starts playing Animal Crossing, which is just super cartoony, Saturday morning type of, just like really fun island little adventure game.
I tried getting into it. Like this,
and for her,
my real life, but some people maybe not.
And like for her, like games like that and Mario Odyssey, those games look beautiful in their own right for her, and those games arguably probably end up investing her. Oh, wow.
Just in time for us to do the pointless debate. We were just discussing the question that you threw out as a little bit ago about, is Nintendo satisfied with third place?
Oh,
and Alberto's kind of pointing out that they're totally okay not competing.
Right now, I think he's right.
Yeah.
Right now, they're happy with their characters. If they have a core set, they're happy with their demographic of family, of people buying, the families buying their video games.
Yeah.
And their marketable characters that they can go to other mediums. I think they're happy.
Yeah, because like this whole time when we talked about games, I've never heard Bobby once say, it's like, I need something with 36 teraflops, being able to do 8K resolution, 144 hertz of refresh rate. Like, that doesn't matter. He was like, I want to play a fun game. Zelda's a fun game. Mario's a fun game. Let me play just a good, fun game. It's a video game at the end of the day.
Nintendo, I want to play that light tier of what Sony's going for. They have their characters that you can only get if you buy a Nintendo Switch or if you're playing on a Nintendo console.
That's where, okay, so this is where, full disclosure here, and I'll wrap up this with this. My reaction officially to the Microsoft game rollout this past week was a little disappointed. I honestly was. And here's the reason why. I was looking, waiting, and hoping to see that next wow factor moment, like when we first saw Halo, like when we first saw Gears of War, like when we first saw the original Titanfall when that came out. As messy as the Xbox One release was, people bought Xbox Ones because Titanfall was so freaking amazing, right? Like it was an awesome game to play. It was freaking awesome. And I was waiting for that like reveal, that new IP that was like,
And that actually goes into my question that I was going to ask you. Is
I didn't see that. I was waiting for it. I was impressed with some stuff, but it was just like sequel after sequel after reboot after reboot after sequel after reboot. I'm like, come on.
And not even big sequels. That's the thing.
Dude, okay. Fable's a huge sequel.
Well, but here's the thing. Look, no, so
Is a significant sequel for people who love that game. It is a huge sequel.
So
this is a pretty big deal.
So there were three things that caught my attention in the Microsoft event. Is the Halo gameplay looked like Halo, like for people who love Halo, that looks great.
Right.
I think
they really like Halo 5, so this was like a return to form.
Yeah, I think they missed an opportunity to wow people. There was not a mic drop moment in that press conference.
Yeah, there wasn't like a big wow moment.
No, and the trailer for Avowed really stood out to me. That looks really cool. I mean, obviously it was just a cinematic trailer, but anytime you talk about Obsidian and RPGs, I mean, you're talking gold. And the Fable trailer, which
Fable one was interesting. It didn't really show much, but the one that really wowed me was the Medium.
Yeah.
Again, something we don't know much about.
Medium was something that was
actually they did a post show.
Really, I'm really curious about that one.
They did a post show after the showcase, which I only found out because I accidentally left the tab out on the side, like in the corner. But they actually showed gameplay of the Medium for a good chunk of time. You know, just walking around and interacting with the world, and it's kind of like a side.
Nice. I'll watch that.
Yeah. So if that's something interested, it exists out there, Dan.
I will have to check that out because that was the one thing that was really like, what is this? This is different.
Yeah.
This is really different. Like you're playing in two worlds at the same time. And it just looked very trippy. And one of the coolest things about Titanfall 2's campaign was when you could bounce between two different like realities essentially, or times, in order to work your way through the game. I love that puzzle solving component. So
before we jump into the debate, I want to just get to my question. Super quick question.
Yeah, okay. I'll try and make it quick. We're winding down here.
Was there anything that you saw at that event that made you say, I need an Xbox Series X?
No. No. And here's the thing, though. After reflecting on that, and I've spent like the whole week reflecting on that, Microsoft is okay with that.
But there's the thing, and
they're
that's
measuring their success by how many people are going to buy their console. I'm already a committed Xbox. I'm a committed Xbox person. Even if I don't upgrade to the next system for a while, I'm going to keep my Xbox One, my One X, right? Continue to stay subscribed. They're not losing me as a customer at all. And what they're doing is
you're a revenue stream, Dan.
Right. They're setting
a revenue stream.
They're trying to make more opportunities for new members, for new subscribers, for new Xbox players to join the family again and come back to Xbox and make it easy for them to say yes to that. But
they need to get some big name games.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm a company, do I want to sell one console, or do I want to have 10 people all paying me, whatever? I'm not doing the math in my head. Or do I want to have the equivalent paying me $15 a month?
Right.
You know, do you want me to give you $100 or do you want me to start giving you $1 and I'm going to double that amount every single day for the rest of your life? What do you want?
Business model is not, hey, look at all these exclusives that we have. Now go spend $500 on our system so you can play them.
Yeah.
They're realizing
with streaming model, they still need games to get people to buy the subscription.
And they're going
to need to get into the family market.
They've already got literally thousands of games in their library spanning 4 generations of consoles that they can have at their disposal to make this as attractive as possible to a wide variety of people. So they've got the foundation there. It's just, what are they going to do with it? You know, are they going to make it attractive on a larger front? But you're right. Like there wasn't anything there that was going, wow, I have to get a new Xbox.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that was necessarily what it was all about. I think it was,
again, that's like you said, the priority.
It was more about the subscription service and saying, hey, all of these amazing brand new games, if you subscribe to our service, you can play them day one.
Yeah.
And as soon as they drop the ball on saying, hey, you don't need to buy our console in order to play all of these, dude, people are signing up for that big time. So,
so how do we want to do the debate this week?
That's a great question.
We want to do a 3-person debate. Each of you just kind of.
Sure.
I mean, I'm totally okay with stepping out of the debate and allowing 2 people to just have at it, and I'll just kind of handle the camera if we want to do that.
I'll probably lose again, so I'm totally fine with it. So
I'll throw out the topic. Dan can do the camera and the timer, and we'll let Alberto and Bobby rip each other to shreds.
Sounds great. All right, Alberto, good luck. You're probably going to win.
All right, so hold on. Before I get the topic,
we
got who's for and who's against. So numbers 1 through 10.
All right, 2.
My number was 7.
Oh!
So, Bob, do you want to be for or against?
For it. Why not?
All right. So, the topic this week: waffle fries are better than regular fries.
Oh, yes. Fantastic. Yes.
They are.
Really?
I don't know. Sure.
That's tough. I'm against that statement. I'm supposed to defend that regular French fries are better than waffle fries.
Yes, you are. Have fun.
Fries.
Yes. All right. You're giving me 1 minute, right? You're cutting me off at 1 minute, Dan.
Waffle fries are better than regular fries. Let me get that up here quick. Hang on. Booyah. There we go. Waffle fries are better than regular fries. And who's going to be for?
Bobby is for.
Bobby is for.
I'm for it.
All right. Christian and I are out. Christian, you can come back once we're doing a minute, right? 1 minute. I'm curious. We're going to do a little unscientific poll at the end of this just to see who thinks what is actually real here. But okay, Bobby, you're up first, sir.
Great. Tell me when. All right. 1, 2, 3, go. Waffle fries. Do you own an air fryer? Do you own an air fryer? They're the best thing in the world. You know what cooks really fast in an air fryer? Waffle fries. You get so much more than just a regular singular fry. And you know who sells really good waffle fries? Chick-fil-A. And you can only get them 6 out of 7 days of the week. That's how good they are. You got to go somewhere else and cook them yourself, and you get all that square goodness. And you can take all your favorite dipping sauce and put one in each little square, and you get all that good condiment goodness into that tasty little waffle fry. Good. And the crispiness of every single inch of that waffle fry. Just to get a little bit of toasty. I don't know. I can't go back to singular fries anymore.
Okay. So that was that.
That was tough. This is the toughest thing to argue about.
The hardest thing for Alberta. Xbox versus PlayStation, not a problem. Waffle fries, on the other hand,
Potatoes and guacamole, easy. Star Trek.
guacamole, yeah, mashed
This is a tough
potatoes,
one. All right.
Irish guacamole, yeah. Okay, all right, Alberto,
Mhm.
and
So I'll start talking from the end to the back from what you were touching on.
Right.
Waffle fries, they're great, but they come at a waffle fry price. They don't come at just a regular fry price. You go to a ballpark, those waffle fries easily an extra $1.49, maybe $2.49 extra for it. And if you want to talk about waffle fries specifically from Chick-fil-A, maybe offers 6 out of 7 days a week, but is offered 0 days out of the week for people that are allergic to peanut oil. Maybe, Bobby, peanut oil fans just prefer regular fries a little bit more because it could end up killing them. So waffle fry, really that good of a fry, or potential murderer? You decide. But going backwards, when you were younger, you always would put fries into your burger. What kind of fries did you always stack like a little fence? Regular fries. And on top of that, I just saw a commercial not even a couple hours ago from McDonald's. And in the commercial, a Big Mac box is open, and the voice says, if you ask your buddy and they say no to their own order of fries, still order them the fries, because this way they won't be stealing from yours. And that is a regular French fry. That's tough, dude.
Let me bring Christian back. What? That was the most pointless debate I've ever seen. I never thought anyone would speak so passionately about French fries ever. I
had to give us something just dumb and ridiculous.
Yeah, that was you mission accomplished, sir. Mission accomplished.
Full disclosure, I'm on the side that waffle fries are better than regular fries.
They are. They so are.
Bobby,
what do you think? What do you think?
I'm
Bobby, do you think waffle fries are like legitimately prefer regular or waffle?
Oh, as long as they're seasoned and cooked right, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm more of a steak fry guy, but you can they're all made of the same thing. It's the way they're shaped. Just as long as you cook them right.
It's a potato.
So
I prefer waffle fries, though.
Yeah,
I really do.
prefer waffle fries, but for argument's sake, I think Alberto had the better argument.
See, I told you. See, I've lost all three.
Bobby, have you lost all three?
I lost all three.
All right, Bobby, you get to pick the topic for next week then.
Yeah, sounds about right.
You pick the topic, and we need to see. I'm curious. This is going to be an interesting. I'm curious to see what topic.
That's the greatest sentence I've ever heard. Are waffle fries just murderers?
Well,
straight up accused waffle fries of murder. That was
full disclosure. My inspiration for that, my sister, allergic to waffle fries from Chick-fil-A for peanut oil.
So my mom. Candy.
Yeah, so huge inspiration. Shout out to that. To potential death. All right.
I was close to making an incredibly inappropriate Michael Scott moment. When
oh my god!
He's like, do you ever see that episode? Have you seen The Office?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's like talking about ice cream and eating how amazing ice cream is, and Meredith's there, and she's like, I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't eat ice cream. And he's like, man, if I couldn't eat ice cream, I'd just kill myself. And you're just like, no, you did not say that. You did not just say that. I don't know that I love waffle fries that much.
Yeah.
I feel bad for your sister because she is
and Chris's mom.
And Chris's mom. Right, exactly. And Chris, yeah.
So what do we got next week, Dan?
Next week, actually, I think we're going to be talking about the movie industry. We've kind of circling around that conversation a little bit.
Yeah.
COVID-19 has thrown a real monkey wrench into the viability of the movie industry.
Yeah. Disney just pulled Mulan from its release schedule entirely.
Right? There are all of these movies that are
Star Wars and Avatar
or canceled straight up. Yeah. Like what? I subscribed to AMC's monthly thing where I would go and be able to see 3 movies every week for a month. It was like $20, right?
Yeah.
all the latest movies, IMAX, Dolby Atmos theater. Like I love going to the movies. COVID hit, and now there's no more movies.
Yeah.
Like what? How do movies make money? How do they keep making movies? You know,
Black Widow.
Yeah.
right? Black Widow.
Mm.
The James Bond movie got pushed back.
You got Tenet that was pulled from the release schedule entirely.
I would have absolutely gone to see Tenet. I would have risked COVID to go see Tenet.
Did you hear the number it needs to hit to break
Oh.
even?
I did not.
$800 million Tenet would need to make to break even.
So that's the conversation we're going to have.
Yeah.
And it's going to maybe be a little bit of a sad conversation, but I want it to be a hopeful one, because I honestly think that like things are shifting and people are having to think differently about movies and media in general, which isn't a bad thing. But that's what we're going to talk about. So come with your questions. Those of you that are listening, throw us some questions. If you've got ideas for our ridiculously pointless debate, leave it in the comment section. We would love your feedback. And
a movie that you were excited for that got delayed.
Right. What movies are coming out that you guys want to see? And if you could go to a movie theater right now and see a movie, what would you see? Or are you done seeing movies in general? Are you okay?
I will say, I'm thankful we got Endgame before movie theaters shut down.
Yeah. And we're getting the Snyder Cut. So
would you risk COVID to see that in theaters if it was going in theaters, Dan?
Dude, I'd risk leprosy to go see that movie. give me Jesus and the Snyder Cut. That's all I need in life, really.
I'm gonna get that on a shirt for you.
Yeah, right. I would what, give me Jesus and the Snyder Cut, or I would leprosy. Which one?
Both.
One on the front and then the other on the back. Yeah, there we go. We'll make a t-shirt out of that. It'll be a cool fundraiser opportunity.
To cure leprosy and COVID-19.
For those of you watching, thank you so much, everybody who've been chiming in. Thank you for your questions and joining the conversation. Leave comments below on what topics you want us to chat about next, debate next, all that good stuff. So with that, we will sign off and say adieu. Have a great night, guys. Thanks again, and hello and a farewell, and hope you're having a great time to Joe, who couldn't be with us.
Stay safe, everybody.
Safe, everybody. Exactly.